Hi there, this is Chino, and today we are going to talk about the core sentence. Now, my inspiration for having this lesson is a quote by Ernest Hemingway, one of my favorite authors, and he says that all you have to do is write one true sentence. Write the truest sentence that you know. And as we all know, writing clear, correct, and of course, good sentences is the basis of good writing. And what we're going to do today is talk about the basic parts of a core sentence. I call it the core sentence. So, very briefly, the core sentence is composed of two parts. First part is your subject, second part is your verb. Now, the subject is more commonly known as the topic of your sentence, okay, which is the method that we will use today. What is your sentence talking about? What is the focus of the sentence? And from there we can identify the subject. Now the verb is your action word, okay? Except in some instances where you will have what's called a linking verb, which we will see later on. So, two main parts of your core sentence: the subject, which is the topic of the sentence. What's the sentence about? What's the focus of the sentence? And the verb is the action of the sentence. So what's going on with the topic or the subject of the sentence? So best way, take a look at examples. Okay, so the first, another sentence by Ernest Hemingway, and the sentence that we decided to tackle is: the street light shone on the brass number on his collar. So you always have to remember that the core is always two parts, okay? Core sentence always has two parts. Now, the first one that you are going to look for is the subject, which is again the topic of the sentence. So what is this sentence talking about? What's the main topic of the sentence? And obviously here it is the street light. Now, if you're talking about the simple subject, it's just light. So you want to put an S there to identify that this is the subject of your sentence. Now, once you find that subject of the sentence, you will divide, or the best thing you can do is to divide the sentence into two, because of course your sentence is two parts. And then the next part that you look for is your verb. Okay, some call it the predicate, which is the entire phrase, but for our purposes, let's take a look at the verb first. So the street light, what did the street light do? It shone. Okay, past tense of shine, and this in turn will become your verb. So your core sentence, this is actually the core sentence. We have identified the subject and the verb of the sentence. Okay, let's take a look at another sentence. Now this is from John Steinbeck, another one of my favorite writers, and his sentence is: his blanket was over his nose to protect him from the dank air. And you want to ask, what's the subject of the sentence? What's the sentence talking about? And the sentence main focus, obviously here, is your blanket. Next thing you want to do is to divide it, because again, core sentence has two parts. Label this your subject. And you may be thinking, where's the action here? Okay, where's the verb? Where's the action? Now, this is a special case. It's actually not that special because we see it very often, wherein your verb is actually what's called a linking verb. Now, we will discuss linking verbs more in detail when we discuss parts of speech. But for our purposes, for identifying a core sentence, the most common linking verbs are the verbs in the form to be. And most of these appear in terms of is, are, was, were, and was is our linking verb here. And basically what the linking verb does is it links a subject to additional information. So here it says his blanket was over his nose to protect him from the dank air. Your core sentence. Okay, now you may be asking, what if I encounter a really long sentence with lots of commas and phrases here? So that would be a point in which it would be important to locate the core sentence. What's the basic sentence? So let's take a look at this long-ish sentence by Christopher Paolini from his wonderful novel Aragon. Returning with 2 strips of meat for the small dragon, Aragon found the dragon sitting on the windowsill watching the moon. Okay, so you have to ask yourself again, what's the subject? What's the topic of the sentence? Is it 2 strips of meat? Is it is it the moon? You have a number of nouns here. And actually, what we can do is to isolate these phrases over here. Your sentence begins with a first phrase. Phrases will be discussed later on. And an ending phrase, beginning phrase, ending phrase. And we might be able to find the subject somewhere here in the middle. So let's take a look at it. Aragon found the dragon sitting on the windowsill. What's the sentence about? What's the focus of the sentence? It's Aragon. Okay? Subject sentence. Once you find the subject, you divide it into 2. Put the slash here. Look for the verb. Okay? Where's the verb? Is it a linking verb? No. It's actually a verb here, found, which is the past tense of find. Okay? Subject, verb. So there you have it. In the middle, I'm going to put square brackets here, is your core sentence. And these phrases embellish the core sentence. And the reason why it's so important to find what the core sentence is because we start with this core sentence. And then later on, we embellish with these phrases or clauses as we see fit. Okay, let's take a look at another sentence by J.K. Rowling of the Harry Potter fame. And she talks about Dudley. To those of you who've read the book, you know who he is. And this is a quite apt description of him. Dudley, comma, who was so large his bottom drooped over either side of the kitchen chair, grinned and turned to Harry. Okay, so you may be asking yourself again, commas all over the place. This is actually a phrase in the middle of the sentence compared to the last sentence where we had the phrases at the beginning and the ending of the sentence. And here, switching back, your phrase is right in the middle. Okay, so again, ask yourself, what's the subject? What's the topic? Subject is Dudley. Okay, subject right here. You want to put a slash here to say that this is the first part of a sentence. And where is your verb? Grinned. Okay? So, in other words, if you remove this phrase, this sentence will survive. Dudley grinned and turned to Harry. But, of course, J.K. Rowling embellishes it with a phrase in the middle, which we will learn to do later on. Okay, now, let's take a look at some other cases by Ernest Hemingway again. Short sentence, but we have to locate the subject. What is the topic, or what are the topics in this case? And the sentence goes, a girl and a soldier went by in the street. So this is an example wherein you have 2 or more subjects. And that's totally possible. Okay, so a girl will be the first subject. You can have it subject 1 if you want. And a soldier, subject 2. Okay? And then once you've located your subjects, divide, look for the verb. What did they do? What did the girl and the soldier do? They went by. Okay? Verb. Core sentence right here. Let's take a look at another sentence and another special case. The girl wore no head covering and hurried beside him. So in this case, you're taking a look about subject. It's pretty easy. We were talking about the girl right here. Subject, okay, slash. Now, what happened to the girl? What were the actions involved? She wore no head covering, and then we have and hurried beside him. So this is a case where you have 2 verbs, verb 1 and verb 2. So, can we have 2 or more subjects? Yes. Can we have 2 or more verbs? Absolutely. That would still make a core sentence. So to review, you have the subject plus verb equals your core sentence. Now, in other grammar books, you may encounter them with different names. Subjects could sometimes be called noun, phrase, could sometimes be called topic, could sometimes be called focus, like what I used. And verb, you can have verb phrase, or can also be called the predicate. So it's that simple. That's all to it.